Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be having a Yu-Gi-Oh discussion on why the Yu-Gi-Oh community is really mad right now. I'm sure some of you guys have seen lots of tweets from a lot of different content creators. I even just saw some myself, but it really has to do with the most recent YCS winner and what card that they were actually playing. Now, let me go ahead and show you guys some pictures here to kind of build up the context here. So, someone won, and congratulations to the person who won. He was playing a Sky Striker deck. Now, the reason why people are upset is not necessarily just because he's playing Sky Striker, but it's because of Mystic Mine. This was posted on the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game Facebook page, and a lot of comments are a little bit toxic. I'm just covering some of the ones where you guys can understand the context. I'm not going to cover the super toxic ones, but a lot of people are really mad saying, ban Mystic Mine, ban Mystic Mine. Like, you'll see this for long, there's more toxic things, but we're not going to cover them here. And it all comes down to specifically Mystic Mine just being in the game, right? It's not necessarily because they're upset about Sky Strikers. And there's a lot of people saying that he's got no skill. I've seen lots of stuff, okay? Now, the reason why people are upset is there wasn't event coverage, right? And this is a top 4 feature match. This was just posted over today, and it's like the match, right? So, you know, both duelists are using Mystic Mine. So, both of them are using Mystic Mine here, okay? So, let me just at least build that for context. This card has always been the subject matter of a not so fun card to play around with. Like, you can see how many turns have just drawing a card and passing. But it gets even worse when you scroll down. Look at this duel, and there's lots of players saying, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't even interactive. And okay, if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, even at high level Yu-Gi-Oh! Where no Mystic Mine exists, there are lots of different decks where there's so many negations. Hey, Baguska could be considered a pretty toxic card. However, I want to also mention Baguska doesn't last forever. That is one thing that I think Mystic Mine does that other cards don't do. Like, for example, if we're just going to go ahead and spectate some of these duels, they may or may not be relevant to the subject matter. But if you go into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, lots of different decks will set up so many negations to the point where, like, you didn't get to play anyways, right? And I've actually already talked about this. That video is at over 1 million views where it talks about why people quit Yu-Gi-Oh! And it really comes down to the non-interactive gameplay, right? No one hops into Yu-Gi-Oh! Going, hey, I'm so down not to play any of my cards. And the thing is that, like, technically Mystic Mine doesn't stop you from playing cards, it just negates all of the effects and makes it so you can't attack, but it's pretty much the same concept, let's be honest here. And I also want to at least establish that Mystic Mine won him the game too. By the way, like, let me scroll down in this like feature duel. Like, I don't even know why they put this at a feature duel. This just makes the game look very non-interactive. So they draw pass, draw pass, draw pass, draw pass. It goes on for a long time, and then he's just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna concede because Mystic Mine is Mystic Mine, right? Now, this card has always been a very controversial card. Now, it's for multiple reasons. Obviously, yeah, it does what it does. But there have been multiple gentlemen's agreements on lots of different tournaments. In the OCG, they even had tournaments, big tournaments, where they would all have a gentleman's agreement of Mystic Mine, we're not playing that, right? And it's banned because the players are so upset about it. Now, will the TCG follow? That's the real question that the OCG have actually done because people hate the card so much. At the end of the day, I understand that there's different ways to win in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I can respect, like, let's say, like, Exodia or any other alternate win conditions, but let's be honest, playing Exodia in 2022, do you guys think realistically anyone is going to win with it? No, and the answer is because of hand traps and all the negations that go on, right? The only real alternate win condition is pretty much going to be deck out. Now, there used to be something called Empty Jar, which would kind of have the same concept of just decking your opponent out. It's an alternate win condition. But maybe if they want to support the idea of a alternate win condition in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it doesn't have to be Mystic Mine, but realistically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been a game where there's multiple different weird ways to win, whether it's collecting Exodia, getting the Destiny board. Technically, there's the Ghost Trick one actually had some potential with some like crazy like FTKs. It takes a long time, but for the most part, Yu-Gi-Oh! Really hasn't had a alternate win condition in the game, right? Like, it's basically you get your opponent's life points to 0. And while I do want to say that I like variety, there really hasn't been a variety other than Mystic Mine. And what's weird with the whole Mystic Mine thing, there are people that are like, no, we love Mystic Mine. It's not a card where I think that people are like, you know, in the middle about. It's usually people hating the card a lot or liking the card a lot, just because, and I think most people that like the card are kind of just doing it for troll. Like, they may not take the game as serious, but at the highest level, you know, people are taking the game serious and still playing it because it wins games, right? And at the end of the day, people are going to be playing what wins, and it's really hard to have those gentlemen's agreements in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just in general. I don't know if any of you guys remember back in the day when Patrick Homan had the gentleman's agreement, where he was like, okay, let's side deck Jin, and he actually ran a second copy of a Jin. Like, that is such big brain Yu-Gi-Oh! Ideas that it's so, like, iconic, right, to, like, the game in general. But I don't think that it's going to be easy to have a gentleman's agreement, at least in the US. I think over in, you know, Asia, maybe EU, it's a little bit easier, but I feel like NA or just USA is just going to be like, yeah, dude, I'll side deck my Mystic Mine if you side deck yours, and they're just going to play a different way. I feel like that it's going to be that all over again. So I don't know how I feel about, like, just trying to have gentlemen's agreements. It's just too difficult, I would say. But, like, obviously, if you're playing online, I see that all the time where people will host a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game and say, no this card, no this card, but, like, no Mystic Mine is a very relevant thing. But there are also people saying that, like, you know, he doesn't have any skill because he's just playing it. It's so easy, anyone can win. Okay, this is coming from me, myself, that, like, I've gotten top 4, top 8. I've got my invite to nationals. And the thing is that you really have to watch your opponent. There's no way anyone that could not, like, you know, play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, never played Yu-Gi-Oh! And then just plays Mystic Mine in the deck and win. I mean, true that if he's activated and it's on the field and the winner is declared by deck out and the guy has 0 outs to Mystic Mine, let's say it was activated on his turn 1, which would be, I guess, game state turn 2, because obviously the person has to have a monster in order for it to actually, like, you know, work, right? But the thing is that, like, you still have to know some knowledge. Could it be possible? And, like, you know, I will always say that, yeah, there could be some slim chance that someone that is, you know, a little bit less familiar with the mechanics of the game, and if they played Mystic Mine, they could win. But I'm not really here to make that argument. But I'm curious to know, is this going to be more so something that we have to look out for in the future, that Mystic Mine will just always be relevant in the game? We actually have to play stuff to actually get rid of it. And some people would argue that, oh, your deck sucks if you can't deal with Mystic Mine. The thing is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten to be such a fast game, most people don't even play that much back row destruction. I mean, there's a lot of people that won't even play Harpy's Feather Duster. It's obviously a great side deck card as well, but at the same time, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game has gotten very less and less interactive as time goes on, and the reason why is because the way that you win a lot of these duels is because you're setting up, you know, a bunch of negations, and at the end of the day, it's just that less interaction that I'm not so much of a fan of, versus, like, yes, Mystic Mine is very non-interactive. Perfect. I don't know. The funniest thing that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is people net deck so hard. Like, you know, the most recent YCS winner is playing, you know, Sky Striker, Mystic Mine, and, like, it's like, okay, let's go, that's the best deck, okay, I gotta play it too. And expect to see Mystic Mine as well as just Sky Strikers in general, to see a lot more play. And it's almost a surprise to me that Sky Strikers won. I would have not believed that, you know, and, you know, so congratulations to the player that actually, you know, did win with it. But at the same time, I think that this is more so a huge calling sign that if, you know, people are very vocal about Mystic Mine over on, like, the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Forums and stuff, will they actually take action? That's the real question at the end of the day, and I'm curious to know how you guys feel about it. Do you guys want Mystic Mine to stay in the game, or do you guys want it to be banned? Please be a little bit civil, and don't just say ban Mystic Mine in the comment section. Maybe give some reasonings to, like, you know, Mystic Mine should be in the game. There's, you know, other things coming out in the future that are going to support alt win conditions, but it's just interesting to see, like, just the outrage in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. So maybe they'll actually put the ban hammer on it, but, you know, I've always felt like Mystic Mine was just, again, it was a non-interactive way to play, but a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks are kind of like that, right? And then decks like Drytron, the whole idea is just to set up a bunch of negates so the opponent cannot do anything, right? So it's almost very similar in that sense, but at least with, like, decks that have a bunch of negations, they are kind of following the more traditional way of actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus, like, oh, I'm just going to sit here, activate this, and, like, oh, well, looks like you decked out. It makes it so it's a not very interactive game to watch from a spectator side of things. Could you guys imagine this for esports? Remember, they want this game to be esports, and if it's in, you know, Master Duel, people are going to be wanting to play it, you know, eventually. So the thing is that that would translate over. Like, could you imagine just watching like the finals of a game and it's just like Mystic Mine is activated and draw pass, draw pass, draw pass. It's gonna leave a lot of people going, what the heck is this game, that don't normally play Yu-Gi-Oh? But the people that play Yu-Gi-Oh are like, yeah, it's Mystic Mine, and like, what are we supposed to do? Just accept it? I don't know. What's the solution, guys? Let me know it down below. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed this discussion and video, drop a like on it. If you're newer and do want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh discussions in the future, because I do enjoy these actually more than just like covering gameplay and stuff, because it's more about like thinking, you know, long-term about the game versus like short-term, you know, gameplay or whatever. But anyways, take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next video, and I'm out. Peace!